I, during one of the lowest points in my life, was looking at the failure of Rome Remastered and stated boldly that I believed CA purposefully sabotaged the game for malicious intent through purposefully poor marketing, which ultimately was one of the major killers of the game. The foundation of that theory rested on this principle: no design team could possibly be this stupid. Always at first assume people who seem dumb to actually be thinking on a whole other wavelength, as only then can you truly avoid your own ignorance. This is something I have followed for a while. No one with presumably years of experience could be that dumb. It had to be something else, and the only logical conclusion was that it's malicious. After seeing the release of Warhammer 3 and everything else in the last decade combined, I can now boldly confirm that I was wrong with my original premise. They are just that behind the times, using strategies that have been outdated for over a decade and are somehow gradually getting worse at the practice. I hate to say this so rashly. I have always been known as the nice guy, the positive, chirpy, chill YouTuber in the space. I have supported and backed CA when few others would in the historical scene. Trust me, it does pain me to call out a team of developers like this. It goes against my nature, my character, but it must be done, here on my last chance to get it out, because it is the truth. My words are 100% deserved. This new idea of not calling out people because developers might get upset, although it is grounded in something important, general niceness, it is deeply flawed when it becomes the only existing argument. At times, it reaches the point where only a hard, cold slap in the face for reality to come twirling back round becomes the only option for true progress. I fear through the community's support and niceness, values that I 100% admire in people could have gone too far, and it risks making those at fault never realise their own mistakes, and so never learn. Negativity is equally as important as positivity. It is my hope that the recent failures of Total War will be big learning steps going forwards. I guess, however, this is a YouTuber criticising CA, and so, naturally, it will be classed as YouTube drama, and only YouTube drama on places such as Reddit. Deleted, hidden away, never looked at, never developed upon as a theory, never shared, never learnt from, feared by many due to the corruption of language, calling something something that it is not, to avoid the real issue at hand, a form of Bonapartist strategy, one that I do admire deep down for its intelligence, but still one that is wrong nonetheless. Go to a nationalist country and push a bill about breeding cows, call it the National Pride Bill, and watch as the masses flock to its support. Go to a very left-wing nation, push a law that makes it illegal to swim on Mars, but title it social reform, and again you have instant success. Modern society does live daily in a world where definitions and words are corrupted into absurdity. 3 words here, used to mean the same thing, but in reality, 3 very different words. It works though, and I, along with other YouTubers in the community, through the use of false wordings, supported by the Total War Reddit mods, who you would be foolish to assume do not have some strong ties to CA or a desire to please CA at the very least, are branded as deranged attention-seeking enemies. Censorship and corruption is not the answer here. It's not just the marketing though. The business management seems disastrously offbeat. The general game development and planners have been proven to be absolutely lost, and don't get me started on the playtesting aspects of these titles. All points I have made in past videos. But it is not all doom and gloom. I have, to my annoying discredit, always tried to look at both sides of every argument. There are positives. CA has one of the best records for treatment of employees, followed by incredible charitable donations and, to the best of my knowledge, no history of crunch time. And the one team that consistently amazes me is the arts team. These are all wonderful, overlooked things CA has done that often do get swept under the rug. However, it is here where I believe they fail most of all as a company. It seems their strategy is to gain love and support through appearing as the place to work, the best and nicest. Appearance matters, and that is their strategy, but employees in reality should never come first. The customer is meant to come first, and sometimes they even try to put the YouTuber above the customer too, which is equally just as bad. And this is often done at the expense of the community, the customer's experience. The model simply does not work. Their strategy at recruiting is to go for cheaper, less skilled labour, which is good. It gives new people a chance to get their foot in the door. But the customer does deserve better from these titles. Maybe it is therefore time that CA professionalises a bit more and does a better job at retaining their employees, holding on to them, training them more, and just getting better. Because high turnover strategies such as these, how many community managers have we gone through in the last few years? I've lost count. But it ultimately, clearly, does not work. The good and the bad. Not a strategy to YouTube I should have taken. Humans prefer to tribalise themselves into different categories and sides. This is not a new thing. It dates back to the start of our existence. It's nature. If I make a positive video one day and a negative the next, it's suddenly MELKOR has gone off the rails. He hates CA now. This is it. Blacklisted. If I make a negative video, followed by a positive video, then suddenly MELKOR has been bought. He's sold out, trying to get back into the programme. Too many people cannot get it into their heads that reality is a combination of several goods and bads, and through those we develop our opinions. It is what makes us unique and human, our cool differences, not our dry similarities. This is a tribalism, either intentional or not, that CA has bred into their community. And after 5 years of studying this community deeply and daily, I 100% know CA are to blame for all those major aspects of internal toxicity that exists within this space. There's more divides here than near enough anywhere else, and despite my best efforts to break such divides down, get the communities to unite, I have failed. The Creative Assembly gets away with far too much, stuff other companies would not get away with. I have come at this channel with the wrong idea. Not morally, not logically, but in terms of business and branding. I should have been more focused on a side, a tribe, even if I did not 100% believe in all the details. Should I have been a toxic menace? Should I have been a shell? Does not matter, but looking back, a part of me wishes I had chosen one of those sides over honesty, because only when you lie are you believed. This irredeemable business flaw, followed by a failure to bring the fans of Total War together, followed by the failure to see a good, strong return of historicals, is why I must go. And I hope, in me realising my failures and stepping back to approach life from a new angle, that CA will do the same. Realise their failures and mistakes, study everything in great depth, think and listen to all opinions, and then step back and approach the genre from a fresh new light. And trust me, although risky, it will be an exciting venture for both the developers and players, and may be the ultimate chance to bring every Total War fan together again. And if so, then I wish the developers who reshape how Total War functions, now that it has become stale, to have the ride of a lifetime. It's not all failure on my half. When Legend left Historicals, I asked, is it possible to cover those same classical titles, but from a quirky, non-controversial, high-quality approach? Could there be Rome 1 and Medieval 2 fans out there who were not the type to, well, watch old Legend videos and just wanted something different? I succeeded there and found an entirely new audience in the field with an entirely different mindset, before underrepresented. I believed that Rome 1 was not just for the old fans looking back with nostalgia, but that these games were great enough to create a new, younger generation of fans, and, given my successful content style, one directed at, overall, a younger, less serious audience, backed by stats that rates my average viewer as under 24, who would have been 6 years old when this game released, 15 when Rome 2 released, could still find the charm and excitement within this title. MELKOR does love to boast, but for me, as in the guy behind the camera, not much of a fan. But I must say that I really did revolutionise the way Total War was covered, and I hope I paved the way for many other successful careers in the space. Speaking of MELKOR, it has been fun. I created the character years ago, someone with a clear ego, god complex, but through his silliness and constant failures would appear goofy and like the lovable villain that the viewer still feels they need to root for. King Julian, Stewie Griffin, Drew, to name a few inspirations. Through this character I was able to add, I hope, comedy and something unique to my videos that otherwise could have become pretty dry. Not only that, but I know for a fact that he boosted my own confidence, made me a better person, and I was genuinely happy to be MELKOR at all points in my career, even now, 5 or so years later. But, like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde has the potential to become a curse. Maybe it's best to drop the character I have been playing for so long, for my own general health. And even in my more intellectual videos with a revolutionary nature, I was careful. I wore attire of a demeaning nature. I was talking big, smart, revolutionary, inspiring, perhaps, content. And so I had to provide the viewer with a constant reminder that I am just a goofball, not someone to be seriously followed. This, I believe, is how humans should behave. Work with intentional disadvantages, as that forces you to be the best. You have to be the best to compete. This is why I advise people to be more critical to CA, and why I started this with ruthless negativity. Because it is needed. People say CA needs competition. I say they no longer compete. My interest has wavered to games such as Paradox by this point. CA needs to compete, and I fear they still believe they hold a monopoly in their scene, and I fear that they believe their business to now be stagnated, when in reality they have become blinded and spoilt by a false positivity. This is it. My 100 days return is over, and I stand here after my Waterloo with my papers of abdication before me. I could keep going, but what's the point? CA next has a saga, most likely, and then It's most likely a full historical. Medieval 3 perhaps, but so what? Medieval 3, as explained before, needs the launch of a lifetime, and it's increasingly become clear that CA in their current state do not have the ability to pull that off. I have gone from the most hopeful YouTuber to arguably the most pessimistic, but I believe that's because through being honest with myself and my own feelings and always seeing as many sides as possible, that I see it now for how it truly is. I will not waste 2 years of my life on what I believe to be false hope, on the off chance that they deliver, and the off chance that it will succeed. The odds of success now are far too low for me to bet any more of my life onto this project. CA, learn from what I have said here. I hope I will be remembered most of all for providing some good laughs. There is now a playlist live of some of my personal favourites if you ever want to go back for a quick chuckle. I left and returned before, I know, but I left when I was miserable, confused, suffering from COVID, making big life changes and so on. I returned because I needed something to do before I prepare to go back to uni. But now it is for real. You may get a review out of me when the next big historical comes round. There may be a change in heart. But don't, as I have, waste too many years on false hopes with such weak odds. Only do that when you have serious impact on those odds, would be my advice. Thank you for your years of support from my many viewers. I love this community more than anything, but it is time to move on and put this head to use elsewhere. And so, with this final video for the foreseeable future, I bid you farewell, adieu, and MELGONE.